Hi, everybody. Let's see. We have a little bit of a different setup today. So I have two cameras on me at the same time, and you can tell that I talk with my hands. So I have my phone with my hands, and then I have my laptop with my face. Um, Go ahead and comment if you can see me. Actually, I think I'm just going to grab a tissue. Someone's just come on. Welcome. I will be right back. Okay, yes, we have four people on live. Go ahead and comment and let me know who you are and who's joined us today. And to those of you who are watching the replay, welcome. My name is Kari Capone. I'm the founder of The Spinning Hand, and I haven't been online for a while. It's been a little while. We launched our subscription box a few months ago. It's so funny, I can see my hands. Hi, Debbie. Congratulations on your generation shawl. That is just so beautiful. I cannot wait to start mine. I haven't even started mine yet. Angie! Angie, are you in India? Oh my gosh, I love you too. Oh, it is so nice to see you. Oh my gosh. I was thinking of you because the air quality in the Northeast US has been really poor lately. There have been all these wildfires in Canada, and I thought, it smells like India. Like, I loved the way India smelled when I went to visit, but yeah, I could remember. Um, Sandra, so good to see you from Northern Alberta. Oh my goodness. Oh, and Debbie says it was a quick and wonderful project. I'm so glad. So glad. Well, today we're going to tackle. Hi, Canette. Oh my gosh, almost finished with your bag. Did you use hand dyed? Did you use the yarn that came with the bag? And I know you hand dyed it, or did you use a different yarn? Let me know. Oh, the smell of burning wood. Exactly. Can you smell it in Alberta? What a funny, I have such chicken arms. So it's so funny to see my arm like, let me use my mouse instead. Hi, Jess. Welcome. All right. Yeah. It's scary. It's really scary. Okay, and you used the yarn that I sent and you dyed it. So Canette taught me how to dye yarn, and she's amazing at it. And I am going to leave it to her. I will definitely use the hand dyed yarn that we made together. We made it last week. It's a lot. I have such respect for people who hand dye yarn. Okay. Angie's about to go to sleep. Came to YouTube to find a meditation. I know. So yeah, it's later. Maybe it's 9:30 or so, or 10:30 in India. But it's like right in the middle of the afternoon. It is. And Canette, you make hand dyeing so much fun. So good night, Angie, and thank you for commenting. And I love you a lot. And let's get started with some uh, embroidery. So the dumpling bag is the perfect project if you want to practice embroidery. Very forgiving. And I thought we would start today with what's called the running stitch, which is just a straight stitch. So what I've done is I've taken some scrap yarn and I threaded my tapestry needle, and I've come up from inside the bag. So I put my hand inside and kind of use it as just some support there so that I don't sew through both layers of the bag. And to do the running stitch, so you can use the stitches as your guide, I like to skip a stitch and go down, and then skip a stitch and go up. But the nice thing about making a straight line is that if you skip a couple stitches and then you just skip one, it's okay. You're still going to get a nice straight line. So you're just going to follow the stitches and you're going to embroider going down where the V's are. And I like to do it sort of like loops going backwards on themselves. So I go down and then past where I had come up before and come up again. Just like that. Go down where I came up before. Those of you who have done the mattress stitch, this is kind of a similar style in that we're like going back down where we had come up. Aren't you amazed that I can do this and kind of record myself at the same time? This is my first time doing a live with this new setup and it feels very strange. Okay. So now this is perfect for if you're making lines for letters of the alphabet, if you're making the outline of a shape. And in this case, I'm making a flower stem. Okay. So you want to end, it's easy and neat, but my embroidery always looks messy and uneven. Yeah, and I think that has to do with, Sandra, that has to do with how tightly you pull. Oh, and another thing is, make sure that you block your piece before you embroider it. Because if you embroider and then block, things will get all stretched out. So 3 things. How tightly you pull the yarn is going to affect the tension, whether or not you've blocked the piece, and practice. The least sexy of the 3, but it really is important. So now we have this nice straight line, and I want to show you how to do the rope stitch. So you can just leave your stem or your line like this. If you want to give it a little bit more oomph, you're going to, and I'm doing this blind, but you're going to bring your needle up to the side of where you had done this little dash. So let me show you nice and close. So you know how we like skipped a stitch? I come back up in that stitch that we had skipped. And now we're going to thread the yarn through each stitch. So I'm not going under, I'm staying on top of the work, and I'm going from right to left, or on the screen it kind of looks like going from down to up that first stitch. And then I go from down to up or from right to left through the second stitch. And wait till you see how pretty this looks. You'll have a beautiful rope effect. And this can look really nice for vines, you know, if you're embroidering floral patterns. Okay. Or for your text to really stand out. Then you have this nice rope. Okay. Let me show you quickly. I'll hide this banner. Let me just show you what I do on the inside of the bag. So you go from the outside to the inside, and then you flip your bag inside out. And I just run the yarn through what you've already stitched and just tack that down. Now, if you want to line your bag, you're going to want to do all of the embroidery first, and then you line the bag, and then all of this back end will be covered and hidden. But this is a casual bag, and we don't really need to line it. All right, we have a comment. Jessica says, I've done an awkward form of lazy daisy. Okay, so we're going to make it less awkward. And thank you for saying that it looks great. There's always the pressure, like when you're live, that it's going to be screwed up, but you know, we're all friends here. Okay, so the second stitch that we're going to do is Lazy Daisy. And I picked a slightly fuzzy yarn. The thicker the yarn, the less going over and over again that you'll need to do with the embroidery. In fact, let's double this just for kicks. So here's a little trick if you want to double your yarn. You fold it in half at the midpoint. And then you have two ends here. And wait till you see how easy it is to tack down this yarn. You don't have to, you don't have to weave in this end. So we're going to make a flower at the top of the stem. And I'm going to just go down and up as if I were going to make a running stitch. And then pull the needle through that loop. And you see what's going to happen here. And then we just have a nice tack down there. So here's how you make, or here's how I make a lazy daisy. All right. So I wrap the yarn around my thumb. Okay. And then we want to tack this down. So I thread the yarn through like this and through again. And we're kind of just making sure it doesn't go anywhere. Okay. Now we need to tack down this end of the daisy. Trying to think of like the most effective way to do it. Let's do 3 daisies before we tack anything down. 3 petals, I should say. So there's my second petal. And it's going to be a little harder to bring that needle through, but that's okay. There we go. And let's make one more. All right. So there's the third petal. And I'm going to tack that down. Okay. Now we're going to come up from behind to tack down the petal. And I'm running out of yarn, but we're going to do this. So I'm going down and then traveling all the way up to where the petal is. And then just doing a teeny tiny little stitch right there. And there is one petal beautifully tacked down. I need more yarn to tack down the others. Never fear. And when you're first working, you can do like an 18-inch length of yarn, depending on how long you want to use, you want to feel comfortable with. And I probably don't need to double the yarn just to tack down these petals, but what the hey? We'll keep it consistent. Okay, so now I'm going to come up from behind and then tack down the yarn right next to it, like that stitch right next to it. And then because I doubled it and made that loop, we can just tack it on the back like this. Boop. And again, I have a lot of practice, so that's why I can do this relatively blind, but I'm going to pin down where I want that third petal to be, bring the needle up where it needs to go, and then tack it down right next to where the needle came up. Okay. So now we have our floppy little flower here. And next I want to teach you the French knot. Just let me know in the comments if you've ever done French knots before. They always used to really intimidate me. And I will neaten up this embroidery later, but for now we're just going to tie a loose square knot so that the yarn doesn't get in the way. Okay. All right. So I chose some nice golden yarn for the French knots. This is a good one to double the yarn again. And again, if you can use the same concept with embroidery floss and fabric, doubling the floss. Oh, you've used French knots for amigurumi eyes. Yeah. Yep, perfect. Okay. So doubling the yarn works really nicely here because then you don't have to worry about tacking down the yarn. But we're just going to pepper this project with some French knots. So I've just rather quickly tacked down the yarn. What you do is you use the needle to wrap the yarn around it. Let's start with twice, and I'll show you what it looks like when you wrap it around more. And then you put the needle down where you had brought it up. So let me show you what it looks like here. The yarn is kind of wrapped around the needle, and then you hold the yarn snug and pull carefully, and there's your French knot right there. Now, it happens to everybody that we pull too tight and then the French knot goes through to the back. It happens, and then we just do it again. I'll wrap around 3 times this time, and yet, I'll move my hands up and I'll turn off the banner. Sorry about that. Thanks, Jess. Okay. So I've wrapped the yarn around the needle 3 times, and then I'm putting the needle down into the same stitch where it had come up before. And I'm kind of tightening here to make sure everything is nice and snug. Poke the needle in, and then I pull right like that. Okay, and then let's make one more. Right. And we'll do 3 again. I like the way that turned out. So I wrapped it around 3 times. I'm going back down either in the same place where I went up or just maybe catch that next thread over. And we're just making a little cluster and pulling through like that. And there you go. So we have a very rustic little flower. But this is perfect for dotting your eyes, or for just you can make whole shapes out of all French knots. I love French knots. They're a bit of a pain. Oh, and Debbie used to do candle wicking. Yeah. Such a nice texture. All right. Now, if you're watching this and you have not subscribed to our monthly kit and you would like to make your own dumpling bag, I have a banner for you. And that is thespinninghand.com/club. We would love to see you. We're only shipping out these kits during the month of June. So if you're watching the replay and you're in July already, we're not shipping the kits out anymore. We do have a few left. The kits come with 2 balls of this yarn from Elspeth Lavold, and it's a silky wool Aran weight. And it comes with a beautiful felted soap from the Twisted Pearl and a hand-sewn zippered notions bag made in the United States. So thank you so much for being patient with me during these technical challenges, or I shall say like stretching myself. But I really do like this, being able to show you what I'm doing with my hands, and you're not just looking at my hands. So yeah, so I think it was a pretty good first try. Join us a week from today, and we will be doing beads and buttons and how to incorporate. If you're like me, you have grandma's button jar, and then 2 weeks from today, we're going to do pom poms, tassels, and fringe. So, thank you, Jess. Oh, I'm so glad you love this kit. Yes, Kanette says she's going to make one for each of her granddaughters. Um, I literally cannot stop making these bags. So I think I've made 3. Sometimes they look good, you know, unadorned, but I plan to zhuzh this one up each week. So buttons in a blue cookie tin. Yep, exactly. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. And see you next week. Bye-bye.